Hi. Okay, I'm not going to answer anything that pertains to like my company and stuff like that because I know a lot of people want to know what my business is, and that's like totally not associated with anything on my YouTube. So,
Okay, well, I'll show you real quick to everyone else. So, see you guys, there's Raleigh. Bye. So, it's real, it's happening. And, okay.
I don't know why people are so shocked about this. Like, I'm not opposed to doing interviews. I've done interviews before.
I think it's because a lot of people think that, well, you have, I guess, something to hide or something like that, or that.
Yeah, I don't know why either because I literally am super honest. So, I mean, everything I always do is just based behind me trying to clear the air on like rumors and shit that come out about me. So, I don't know why people think that, but I guess people think that about everyone. So, you know. And I know I've said this a million times and people seriously don't believe it, but I don't have like a mom or a dad to like come out and film me every day. And so normally when I go out and ride, if I want to get on the ground footage with Link, I just have to like set my camera down and it looks really bad. Like the quality looks really bad and it just doesn't fit well in the videos because a lot of times I'll be out of frame or whatever or too far away. And in the end, just the quality of the video looks terrible. And I try to do that as much as possible, but it's just so much easier for me to just use my GoPro. And it's not me trying to hide anything. I've openly admitted that like my riding is not up to par. I mean, I still have like my ankle injury and trying to get that figured out right now. So that's definitely a really big issue. Excuse me, sorry, I'm coming down. I just came off strep throat. So like if my voice goes in and out, it's just because I've been sick all week. Um sorry. But no, it's definitely like I've been super open with people about that. Like it's been really challenging and really, really difficult writing and it's just one of those things like I still go and take lessons and stuff occasionally trying to get better and get my ankle better, but I don't know, it's just one of those things like I would definitely film it from the ground. I just don't have someone who can come out there every day with me. Currently, his training plan is trying to get him to not be so hollow. And that's my fault, honestly, because the last year or so I haven't been able to ride much. And so during that time when I have gone out to ride, it's been really kind of just sloppy to say the least. And I've just been going out, like having fun with him, haven't really been doing any work with him. And I've noticed that over the last year, he started getting really hollow and he'll like drop his back and like raise his head a lot and I just haven't been working on that and it's one of those things like it's not anything that can't be fixed but that's definitely like his training plan for the next like few months, at least currently right now. That's what I'm working on because I just got to the point where I can start going out there multiple times a week again because for the last year I've been going out like 2 to 3 times a week, and now I've gotten to the point where my schedule's freed up a lot more, so I can go out like 3 to 4 times a week. And when I do, I can ride for longer. So yeah, we're just working on basically um, having him like round out his strides a little better and build a little bit more muscle and stuff like that. So that's actually not true because the way that my ankle surgery was done, it actually, and people ask me this all the time because I wear heels all the time. It's actually more comfortable for me, like when I go to physical therapy and stuff like that, it's more comfortable for me to have my like heel up here and my like foot tilted downwards. So like if I basically the exact opposite of heels down because when I like squish my ankle together like that, when I like bring it up into like a V and I'm pushing it down, that's where it causes all the pressure right there. Whereas if I'm in a heel and my leg, that's actually when it's most comfortable is when like my leg is like this and my foot is like tilted downward just because I have basically zero flexibility with like squishing my ankle together like that. And I wish it was like I really wish it was, but it just is so hard. So that's why like a lot of times when I'm riding, you'll see me like bounce around, and like I know people tell me all the time, they're like, wow, that looks like shit, and I'm like, guys, I know, trust me, like I feel it, right? Like I'm like, the reason I put it in my videos is because I want people to know, like I don't want people to think that I'm like hiding something. I openly admit to that, and I openly admit to not having that much flexibility, and it's not like I'm using my ankle as something to blame, because if I totally could ride better, I would. Like I would go to riding instructors every single day if it would actually do something. But even my riding instructor, I take Link to her like twice a week, and even she says, she's like, you know, you just got to accept it. Like there's really nothing you can do. And it sucks, but it's whatever. No, it was, yeah. No, it definitely, I do not take offense to that at all, because I've been to several other doctors. And like at the time when I had the surgery done, like my mom, and this is not me trying to get personal or anything, but my mom was a single mom, and so she couldn't really afford to like take me to the best of the best or whatever. And so when I had my surgery, it was more of like, we need to find someone to do it quick and easy and whatever. And it was really, really like horrible, the whole process. But we just think that like he put definitely the plate on my leg. That's one of the things that's causing me the most trouble right now, because one of the screws is coming out. Around, and like I know people tell me all the time, they're like, wow, that looks like shit, and I'm like, guys, I know, trust me, like I feel it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm like, because that's just the only like that's the only time I can have fun. Like I don't want people to think that I like literally can't ride because I'm in so much pain. Like it causes me different levels of pain at different times during the ride. So like it's not like I can't get on and ride in stirrups. It just makes it very uncomfortable. So that's why I try to just like stick to bareback and stuff. And I know a lot of people have said like, don't ride your horse bareback for longer than like 10 minutes or so. And I'm like, guys, I know. Like I know that. I don't ride my horse bareback for longer than like 10 to 15 minutes, okay? So like without like a pad or anything on it.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people have said that to me recently, and I'm like, I know.
So, this is one of the more controversial questions.
Okay.
So, multiple times in your videos, you've said that riding more than 15 to 30 minutes is detrimental to the horse's back because they go numb and all that stuff. And then right after you said that, like the first time that you said it, you went on a 5.5-hour trail ride.
Yeah, so I want to clarify that because that did happen. What I mean by that is I still 100% stick by that because obviously there's like vet studies and stuff, so I can't really dispute the fact that it does cause a horse problems. The horse will actually like, as far as what I remember from reading the vet studies and stuff that I read on it, the horse's back will actually go like numb, kind of like a pins and needles when you like have a numb arm or leg. And when I went on that trail ride, I actually walked for like half the time on the trail ride, which I know is like still so hypocritical of me to say. And it was honestly like a really shitty thing for me to say. But I mean, I feel really bad that whole thing happened. I did walk him for like half the time. I didn't ride him the entire 5.5 hours. I think I walked him for like at least 3 hours or something, just because most of the time we were going up and down like these really steep areas. I didn't want to be on his back anyway. And it was mostly just like little segments off and on of like a 10-minute ride, 10 to 20 minutes, and then me walking him because the trail was just like really rough terrain. So there would have been no way for me to ride him all the way through anyway. Although, I mean, I know people are not going to believe that, you know, people, but it's whatever. I mean, I will totally own up to that. I will totally admit that, like, that was a really stupid thing for me to do. I can't remember when I did that. It was like sometime at the beginning of last year or something that I did something like that, but yeah, no. I mean, I totally get why people would say that I'm a total hypocrite for saying that, so I'm not going to hate on anybody for saying that, like, I'm a hypocrite for saying, I think I'm a hypocrite for saying that, honestly, but I do stand by the vet study, so, I mean, I will say that. I do stand by the vet study.
Though wouldn't you think that the pins and needles feeling would come from an ill-fitting saddle or a too heavy rider riding on the horse, or, like, not having a half pad underneath the saddle?
I can't sit and say exactly what the vet study said. Obviously, like, I am not a vet, so I can't, like, sit and say, like, I think it would come from this or that or this or that, because I do remember reading in the study at some point that the vet study showed that regardless of, like, the ill-fitted saddle or whatever, it's just the pressure on the horse's back because the back tissue is not strong enough. So I can't really sit there and say that, like, that's 100% because I'm not a vet. So I was saying to people what I had read and just relaying that information. So, I mean, I always tell people just do your own research.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I don't want people to sit around and, like, listen to me all day long and think that everything I say is, like, God. And I always tell people that, like, I have an opinion just like everyone else. Yeah. So it's not anything that, like, I think people should take super seriously. Yeah. They can agree or disagree with my opinion. They don't have to say that, like, everything I say is 100% truth. In fact, you know, I'm sure I have a lot of facts and truths in my videos that are wrong. So.
Yeah. Though, do you think that, for example, linking the vet studies that you mentioned in your videos would help, I guess, in a way, back up what you say? Because most people find it, like, problematic. It's okay.
No, you can finish.
No, because a lot of people find it problematic that they can't find the study that you're talking about, and they just feel that it was, I guess, pulled out of your ass.
Yeah, no. I mean, I totally get that. I think in the past, the reason I never linked my vet studies is because I would include the screenshots and stuff from the studies in the videos, like, on the screen, and I felt like that was adequate enough, and I never really even thought or considered linking them down in the description, and I guess that was just me being naive and not really, like, thinking it through, but I would always just, like, put the clips that I was talking about up on the screen, and, like, so that way people could see it and whatever, and I guess that it would have definitely been better for me to have linked them down below. So, I mean, I get people's confusion there. I try to do that now.
Yeah.
Whenever I, like, actually have a video specifically talking about something. Although, in my Raleigh Reacts videos, my videos are too complicated that I am reacting to, like, 5 to 20 videos in one Raleigh Reacts video, depending on how many videos I end up putting in. And it's, like, almost impossible for me to go through everything and then, like, attach and link, because those videos take me, like, 6 hours to edit anyway. So they take up, like, half my day. And so it's, like, almost impossible. The information that I put in there is just information in the back of my mind that I remembered from reading somewhere. But like I said, I mean, I always tell people, like, if you think that I'm pulling something out of my ass, I very well could be in a video. I could remember a fact totally wrong and be relaying it completely wrong to my audience. And so that's why I'm totally fine with people going and researching it for themselves. I always tell people that. I'm like, if you want to question anything I say, just do your own research. And then if somebody finds something different, then I'm, like, totally open to hearing about it and listening to it and reading it and stuff. So yeah.
Right. Let's see. So I think many people are annoyed with you, or I guess your behavior, because it seems like you forget that the majority of your audience is, like, between, I guess, the ages of, like, 8 to, I guess, 14. They're very young and impressionable.
That's actually not true. I have my YouTube analytics, and my analytics show my audience ranges from, the majority of my audience ranges from 14 to 25, and that's actually, like, the target audience of mine. I have very little kids that watch my videos at all, like kids under 14 or 15. They'll watch my videos, and people can be angry with that all they want, because my videos are videos that I want to put out there. You know, I don't make people watch my videos, and if you're concerned with kids watching my videos, then maybe their parents should be monitoring what they're watching, and they shouldn't. Most of my videos are age restricted, so kids who are, you know, I'm sorry, I hate to sound rude or something, but, like, kids who are under the age of 14 and are watching my videos that are age restricted have accounts that say that they're over 18.
Yeah.
So that is not on me. Like, if someone is under the age of, like, 15 and wants to watch my videos, like, their parents should be monitoring what they're watching. I don't see how that falls onto my shoulders. Like, I can behave, I can act however I want in my videos because they're my videos, and, you know, if something was wrong with my channel, YouTube would have done something about me by now, and so it's just one of those things where it's like, I can't help the fact that people get upset with my attitude. Like, if you don't like my attitude or how I behave in my videos, then just don't watch my videos, or maybe if you're concerned about kids, you should talk to their parents, you know, because, like, it's not my job to control what kids are doing on the internet.
Yeah, I mean,
it's only my job to put out content definitely was. Like, the study was definitely totally biased, and if you're a professional company about something, although in my Raleigh Reacts videos, my videos are too complicated that I am reacting to, like, 5 to 20 whatever, and so I'm actually ordering that. I think it's coming from, like, just put out content that people want to see, and people can say that, like, oh, my audience is young, all they want is US. So I'm getting that soon because I'm just not a fan of my mechanical hackamore anymore, even though my hackamore is just leather and fuzzy, like, fleece on it. There's, like, no, like, apart from the side, there's no metal or anything like that on the hackamore. But I've definitely tried to be as natural as I can, which is why most of the time I don't ride with a bridle at all. Most of the time I'll just do bareback and bridleless work. So that's, like, mostly what I do, even though people don't really see that a lot. But I do ride bareback and bridleless most of the time. So
Are you actually going to get a pad for bareback riding?
Yes, I am,
Alright.
Yeah, so that way I can go out and I can do it for between, like, I don't like riding longer than really 20 minutes. But, because I try to keep my horse, you know, enjoying it, and I feel like if I'm just doing the same thing for, like, over 15 minutes or so, he gets a little frustrated because he's like, okay, like, we're just doing the same thing, this is really boring. And I totally get it, because it gets boring for me, too. So, I try to keep my rides under, like, 20 minutes or so, unless we go out on, like, a trail ride. And, so, yeah, I mean, I am getting a bareback pad, so that way I can do some more comfortable work with him, because I know that riding bareback can make horses very uncomfortable, especially after a certain period. So, yeah, I am getting one of those,
Though, don't you think that in order to maintain training, that you need to ride a bit longer than 20 minutes, like maybe 30 minutes to maybe 45 or an hour?
I think that you should, but I definitely am the type of person who thinks that it should be in segments. I think that you should do probably, like, 20 to 25 minutes max. Like, this is if you're really wanting to put in some good training. I always like to do, like, 20 to 25 minutes and then give the horse a break for a little while, let the horse, like, relax and unwind, because most of the time when I would work with horses, the longer you train them consistently, like, nonstop, the more frustrated they'll get, and the more likely it is for the horse to have a mess up or, you know, get really agitated with you. So I always like to give them a little bit of a break and then start that back up, like, 20 to 30 minutes later, get back into it, do some more training with them, and then I would always do it kind of like that. And I'm not saying that just from the back thing, like riding for longer than 15 to 20 minutes could cause them pain. I'm saying that strictly because, personally, I've just seen a lot of horses get really frustrated, especially if they're new, if they're learning something new. They'll get really frustrated after about 15 to 20 minutes, and that's when you start to see problems arise, and that's when you start to see them, you know, be like, okay, this is getting boring now, and I also don't know what you're asking me to do. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say that it's fine to do stuff like that, but at least, like, give your horse a little bit of a break, or at least that's my opinion.
Okay, so I guess now you clarified, I guess, what you mean by, like, training 20 to 30 minutes at a time. That basically it's kind of like, you know, warm up, train, like, canter, trot, all that stuff, have a break, then start up again without necessarily getting off the saddle. Yeah, okay, because there was also a lot of confusion surrounding that, so...
No, definitely. I mean, I feel bad, but I also totally understand why so many people are confused, and that's just because people need to realize, like, I can't just film hours and hours of my day every single day, and when I put out videos, normally they're, you know, I'll do, like, an hour to 2 hours of filming and condense that down to, like, a 10-minute, you know, 10 to 20-minute video. And so I can't just sit around all day and, like, if I have, which I don't know if a lot of people saw, but I did link another article that had an entire section of testimony. And I totally get it because it gets boring for me too. So testimonies of people writing. My channel is mostly just to entertain people. That's what it's for. It's just mostly to just get new opinions out there, get people thinking, get people to see different sides. Like, you don't have to agree with my side, but at least it shows a different side of the equine world, you know, versus bits and whips and, like, how everyone has been doing things for forever. And so that's the only purpose of my channel, is just to get people to, like, open their eyes to like new sides and new ideas, because the equine world has been the same for years and years and years, and I think that's why a lot of people have really taken to my videos, is because I am so vastly different from every other equine YouTuber out there. So and it's not me like hating on other equine YouTubers, that's just me giving a different opinion, something that more people can relate to, and if they don't relate to, they can at least see other opinions and see different sides and views of things, and how other people will do things that are different, and new training methods and stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally get it. So next question. We're not even halfway through, but
no, it's fine. I have plenty of time. I have nothing that I'm doing for the rest of the day, so it's
fine. All right. So in one of my posts, I joked about that you should have your IB diploma revoked because you're an ex-IB student, right?
Yeah.
Same here. Because you used Dr. Cook's study as proof, right?
Yeah.
But the Dr. Cook study is heavily biased. Like, there's researcher bias. He or she was basically selling their bridle, and that's.
It definitely was. Like, the study was definitely totally biased, and he's selling a product.
Yeah.
And I didn't even, and that was just me being, like, very ignorant with making that video, is I still stand by the video and still stand by my beliefs and everything, which is why I didn't take the video down.
Yeah.
But after I posted the video, I went back because my brother-in-law, he's a rocket scientist, so, I mean, he literally, like, works in that field, and he with you. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, disagree. I mean, like I said, in my everyday life, you know, if somebody, I don't just go up to people. Like, I'm friends with so many people in the equine world who ride in bits and who do all different types of things like that. Like, Lauren and everyone else in the equine world. I, like, openly talk to them and, like, message them, and, like, we chat all the time. And, like, I seriously, like, zero problem with people who, you know, ride in bits and whatever. It's just my own opinion is that if someone were to come to me and ask me if I think that that is wrong, or, like, what do you think I would fix, or if someone says I have a problem with that's when I would give my opinion openly, just because, you know, I have so many people, like, they're not, like I said, they're not bad people. Like, just because you do something that I disagree with, that doesn't mean that I hate you, that doesn't mean that I won't talk to you, won't be your friend, or anything like that. And so, you know, it's just one of those things that, like, people just think that everything I say, I'm just, like, hating on every single person out there. Like, I have a lot of friends who ride in bits, who compete at shows, who...
you getting a new horse, you know, to be friends with Link and all that.
Yeah.
Would you, for example, consider doing, like, I guess, a series on transitioning the horse from, I guess, riding in a bit into bitless to show your viewers how to do it? Because some of your viewers actually have messaged, like, this account saying that they just slapped on a bitless bridle and were like, oh my god, my horse is just going crazy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I would definitely be open to doing that. I would totally do that with Link, but I've only ridden him in a bit when I first started him, and it wasn't to break him in or anything. It was just so that way, if something ever happened and I had to get rid of him, he would know how to ride in a bit, because it's so common, like, pretty much everyone does. And so if something happened and, like, I died, or, you know, something happened with him and, like, I needed to get rid of him, the next person wouldn't be overwhelmed and they could ride him in a bit as well. So, like, that's the only time he's ever been ridden in a bit, and that was several years ago. But I definitely would make videos on that, on transitioning a horse. I think a lot of people, which I've said this, some of the people who have reached out to me, I've fortunately...
Hold on, oh my god.
No, it's fine. I'm not trying to, like, decrease my credibility. If I get another horse, it'll be at some point in the future, just because I don't want to, you know, be moving him, and also, like, if I have to switch to a different boarding facility or something, I don't want him to constantly have to meet new horses, you know? I would want to have at least one horse that is always there with him everywhere he goes, because I know a lot of people were asking me what's the point of getting another horse, and I would probably get another horse that has some sort of issue, so, like, maybe can't be ridden that much, like, maybe only a little bit or something, just because, you know, I feel like a lot of horses like that need a good home, and a lot of them don't get adopted out because so many people only care about riding, and they don't actually care about the horse at all. And so I would definitely get a horse like that, but it would be around his same age, so that way they'd live about the same time. So.
Yeah. Makes sense. Shelby Dennis, and I'm like, yeah. So everyone's like curious, why are Shelby's comments deleted? Because a lot of them, like when I do get to see them, they're really constructive, and they're just like, I guess, starting a discussion with you to like, I guess, like pick at your brain, in a sense.
Yeah. So I've only ever seen one video where her comments were deleted, and that's because that video was my bit video, I think. I haven't seen her comments on any of my other videos, mostly because I don't look at my comment section, so if they're getting deleted, that's by my assistant, just filtering through and whatever. I hate to give, like, personal opinions and whatever, because I don't like bringing personal matters into stuff like this. I'm totally fine if she wants to give, like, constructive criticism and whatever, but overall, as a person, I'm not a fan of her, and I know a lot of people are going to freak out about this, but I think she knows that, because I've had a lot of people who are also really big in the equine world talk to me and consult me about how she's just a really mean person, and I don't want this to start any drama or anything. This is not coming from me. It's just me being friends with a lot of people. I don't want to be friends or associate myself with someone who I consider to be kind of a bully in the equine world. And I know that she doesn't put out anything on her equine channel. I think she's a very knowledgeable person. I think she knows a lot about horses, and I think she has a good opinion, and I think she has every right to share her opinion. If her comments are getting deleted on my videos, I will definitely check in with that.
Yeah.
The only comments I knew of that were being deleted were on my bit video, but if any of her other comments being deleted, I'll definitely check in with that, because I don't have a problem with anybody sharing their opinion. I just don't like her as a person. I mean, if people want to know that, like, that's just true. I think she knows that too, just because, I mean, I don't know her personally, so I really shouldn't say that, but just judging by me being friends with so many other huge equine YouTubers who she has thrown shade at, who haven't done anything to her, she's just not a very nice person, in my opinion, because she just kind of talks crap about everyone in the equine world, and for no reason. Like, she'll just hate on people to hate on people, and I've had a lot of people send me messages, like, trying to talk to me, saying, like, hey, I don't know what to do, like, blah, blah, and I'm like, just leave it alone, like. And I think her YouTube, it's sad, because I think she puts out a good message, and I think a lot of her YouTube videos are really, really good and educational, and I think that she's a good horse trainer. I think she knows what she's talking about, but I just think that from what I've heard about her as a person from other equine YouTubers and people who have been associated with her, I don't think she's necessarily the nicest person in the world, so, yeah.
Have you actually watched her bit video, the one that's a response?
I looked at the links, too. I mean, I think she has a very valid argument. You know, people constantly, like, I don't know why so many people think that I'm, you know, such a mean person, that I'm so close-minded. Like, I totally get the opinion behind bits. Like, there's a lot of studies out there. I've read a lot of studies that talk very highly about bits. I've also read a lot of studies that talk very negatively about bits. I think the best thing we could do is just get some, like, really, really unbiased studies done from people who are even associated with the equine world at all, who can, like, give a valid argument and study on the effects of a bit and the effects of a hackamore or riding bitless and whatever. Personally, from everything that I've seen, from especially all the articles that I've read, which, like I said, I've re-linked in the video that I uploaded, or not all of them, but some of them I re-linked in the video that I uploaded. A lot of them talk about how bits do cause extra pain and stuff like that, but I mean, like I said, I watched her video. I thought it was totally fine. She had every right to make that video, and I mean, her opinion is totally valid. Like, she can talk about whatever she wants to talk about. That doesn't mean I'm gonna make a video responding to it. Like, a lot of people, you know, a lot of people think that, like, back when, I think it was sometime last year when the whole jet eventing thing happened. And I felt so bad about that. Like, I felt literally like a total bitch. I felt so bad about that entire situation because at the time, like, I was going through a lot, and this is no excuse because I shouldn't have done it, but I was going through a lot at the time, and I just, like, was getting hate left and right, and then also having the clinical depression come on. It was really hard for me to deal with it. And then, like, she was someone I followed on Instagram and, like, really liked. Because you know, I'm actually friends with most of the people in the equine world,
Yeah.
especially the big equine YouTubers and stuff. And so it, like, I thought that it was about me because a lot of people were tagging me in the comment section.
Yeah.
And that was really naive of me to do, but I was just hurt because I was like, I can have their own opinions and whatever, like, it's fine. And and that's what I did. Like, that's why when I made that video the other week responding to one of my friends, like, I'm friends with her in real life.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I was like, I literally hate making videos about people because I feel like such a bully when I do that, and I just hate doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
that's
especially
totally
after the jet
understandable.
eventing thing, I just felt so bad for doing that, and that's why I apologized to her like a million times because I felt so bad. And I realized afterwards that it was a total like crappy thing for me to do that to her, and it was a good wake-up call though. Like, it needed to happen because it needed to wake me up and say, like, you need to stop reacting to people just because they disagree with you or something like that, you know? Like, and that's my thing, is like, I'm totally fine if people want to make videos about me, share their opinions and whatever. That doesn't mean I'm gonna react to you. Like, the only reason I reacted to Ashley is because, you know, I know her personally.
Yeah.
And it was, like, really hurtful for her to do that because I was like, dude, like, I know you personally, like, you were there, you know exactly why I didn't train these horses and stuff like that, and so that's for the only reason I did that. And, like, her and I are still friends. Like, she took down her videos, I took down mine, like, she felt bad, and I felt really bad, and, like, we talked about it, and we're still really close, and I like her, she's a really nice person, so, I mean, I have nothing against her. It was just a misunderstanding, and she just had some facts wrong and stuff like that, which is fine. But no, like, the whole Shelby Dennis thing, like, a lot of people were spamming her video to me, and I'm like, guys, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I'm not going to hate on her. Like, she has every right to share her opinion, every right to say what she wants to say. Like, I have no problem with that. I'm not going to make a video responding to it and just making this whole argument conversation about it, because it's like, that's not what my channel is. My channel is just me talking about things I want to talk about, and that's it. My channel is not, you know, Raleigh reacts to so many people who want to make videos about her, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's what sucks so much about YouTube, is people just want drama. They want me to react to all these other people, and it's like, guys, like, I just don't want to. I just, like, she has every right behind it, is I'm like, as long as you just put your horse's interests first, and maybe you say, hey, maybe I just want to transition to a softer bit or something, that's all that matters. Like, as long as you're putting your horse's interests first, like, that's all that matters to me. And obviously I would love it if everyone went bitless, but that's not going to happen, and like, that would be totally unrealistic for me to assume that. But no, like, sorry, I feel like I rambled. What was your question again?
Well,
the vet
yeah, the vet thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, going back to that, I definitely think that a lot more vets would speak out about it if it was something that really caught on and people started saying, like, hey, like, we think that there's actually problems here. But the thing is that it just hasn't caught on yet. Like, vets aren't going to speak out about something if 90% of the equine world does it. You know, like, 90% of the equine world rides in bits. And, I mean, that's, like, not a real statistic. I'm just pulling it out of my head right now. I just want to clarify that. So that when no one says, 90% of the equine world, like, that's just pulling that out of my head. But, like, I would say, from what I've seen, like, 90% of the equine world rides in bits. And so a vet is not going to speak out when they're just there to do their job, and they're just there to, you know, make sure the animal's healthy and whatever. They're not going to speak out and, like, openly say that, hey, you need to change that, like, your horse is in a bit. I think it's the person's job to just, you know, put their horse's interests first. And stuff like that.
Wouldn't they speak out if, for example, if they saw, like, while checking their teeth that they got damage from the bit?
I've definitely seen a lot of vets do that,
and
I've
also
seen a lot of vets. What?
No, because also, for example, I compared it to, like, walking a dog on not a halter,
do it and whatever. You know, a lot of people, if they just put a hackamore on their horse one day and their horse has only been ridden in a bit, of course they're going to come back and say that my horse hates the hackamore. That's probably because you just transitioned your horse into something he's never done before. So obviously he's not going to like it very much, you know? And so it's just one of those things. Like, it's just like, that's just my personal opinion on it. I think that horses can learn how to do pretty much anything. So yeah.
I guess you wouldn't agree with the statement that some horses, just like people, are just simply assholes. Because, I mean, horses have their own personality, character, preferences.
Horses do have their own personalities. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say that, like, horses don't have their own. I think that the learning aspect is a little different, because some horses, they can be total assholes. It just has to do with you learning with them and, you know, learning their buttons, learning their personality, learning things that they like and dislike, and learning how to work with them on stuff like that. And that just goes back once again to the whole learning thing of horses. People think that, like, and whatever. I don't think that's true with any horse, you know, like, it just has to do with you building a relationship with that animal, working more with, you know, getting along with them, learning their buttons. There's things that Link doesn't like, and therefore I don't push him to do that. I worked with him in training on that for a really, really long time, and he just never ended up liking it. So therefore I don't really push him to do stuff like that. He can do it, but he just doesn't really like it that much. For instance, like show jumping. He can show jump just fine. You know, I have an instructor that I go to twice a week, and he can show jump just fine. He can go over the jumps just fine, but he just doesn't really like it that much, and he gets really bored and really agitated from time to time, and I know when he's getting to those points, and I know when he's, you know, getting to that level. Like, he can still do it, but it just has to go along, once again, with just understanding your horse. And, like, I put his interests first, and so I only like to do things that he likes to do as well. I mean, obviously, like, I occasionally do training and stuff like that he doesn't like to do, but that's in his best interest still. Even if he doesn't like it, it would still be in his best interest to learn that and to, you know, do that activity and stuff like that. So.
Let's see. Actually, a lot of people actually have asked, going back to Shell, because I forgot to ask that question, would you ever do a debate or an interview with her?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to, I mean, I'm open to doing interviews with anybody. Like, Raleigh that acted out negatively was the one where I think she was running in the snow. Wasn't that, I think that was the only one. I don't know if I've ever, because most of the time people don't send me videos of people riding in a hackamore or a bitless. I think, and like, I don't know this for fact, I just, from my memory, I think that the only videos I've ever reacted to of someone riding bitless was the one where she fell off riding in the snow, where her horse was just like really excited and whatever, and she was riding bridleless, which, I mean, I did say in there, at least I think I said in there, that, you know, the horse was definitely acting out, but I also think the horse's behavior was just the horse got really excited, which is something that is a behavioral problem. And I think a lot of horses, when you're riding them bareback and bridleless or in a hackamore, if they're not really trained properly, or even occasionally, even if they are trained properly, they will just kind of go off in their own world, and they'll just be like, oh, I'm free, I can run. Like, they'll totally forget about you on their back, and I think that's one of the things that happened there. That's definitely a problem. Like, if I didn't say that in the video, I think that that's definitely a problem. It's something to be fixed and worked on. I don't think the horse did anything wrong. I never think the horse does anything wrong. Like, whenever someone gets on a horse, I always blame the rider, because you're the one choosing to get on the horse. You're the one choosing to be in their space. Like, every single time someone gets on, they assume the responsibility for their horse's actions. That's just personally how I feel, because, you know, my horse didn't ask me to get on him and ride him. You know, like, my horse didn't want me necessarily to get on him and ride him around and go on these jumps. Like, I feel like anytime someone gets on a horse, it's somewhat selfish in a way. And so that's why I most of the time always blame the rider in every situation. And the only time, I think, and I'm not saying this for fact, but I think the only other time I reacted to somebody riding bitless or bridleless was when, I think it was, I can't remember her name, Ashley or something? I can't remember her name, but she's the one who's, or Alicia, I think her name's Alicia. She's the one who does the bareback and bridleless riding on Gold Rush. She's, like, really famous and whatever. I think that's the only other video.
Oh, that stuff.
Yeah, well, and also, like, a lot of people, it's just like with any YouTuber, like, you don't know, even if a YouTuber does daily vlogs, you still don't know that person. Like, you only see what that person wants you to see of them that's being put out, and most of the time, they're only putting out things that they think will keep people entertained, and that's the whole thing behind YouTube. And I know that I could totally make my videos more educational, which I'm definitely going to do now in the future, since a lot of people seem to be very confused, I guess, with some of my videos. I'll definitely start trying to do that, but, I mean, I do have, like, a crazy life. YouTube is not, like, my job. It's not, like, my only thing that I do. So that's one of the things, like, I only do that so that way it gives people something entertaining to watch, and also gets a different opinion out there, and it's just trolling people. Like, a lot of my videos, like, the helmet video, relationship with their animal, then that's the only goal, you know?
Okay, so actually, recently in one of your videos, when you moved to the new facility, the new barn, you showed how you free lunged to Link in full tack without tying the reins, and a lot of people were saying how it's just a disaster waiting to happen because, the reins could flip over and they could, tie around his leg, and that it's really dangerous, especially in a new place that he doesn't know. So
yeah. I mean, I get that. When I lunged him, I think I showed like a 20-second clip of me lunging him. That was the only time I lunged him, was for those like 20 seconds. It was just a quick run around, just so that way he would catch his footing and stuff like that. I didn't actually lunge him, which I should have clarified in the video, and I'm not saying that as an excuse because I totally agree with that. That's why most of the time when you see me lunge him in full tack, he's not wearing a bridle.
Yeah.
So if you ever see me like let him run around or something, like he has a lot of pictures on his Instagram. Whenever I do stuff like that, he's not wearing a bridle because I do think that that's very dangerous. That was only done because I literally only had him run around for like I think it was like 2 or 3 circles, and that was it, and then I took him to the arena. So it kind of would have been a waste of time for me to do that, because he never gets up to a fast speed. He's really, really calm, and he's really collected all the time. He's never freaked out on me or anything. So, I mean, yeah, something bad could have happened. Really naive of me on my part to do that. But like I said, it was only for like 20 seconds. It wasn't even a real lunge. It was just me like getting him to run around. Like I think it was 2 times, and then we went to the arena. So it wasn't a real lunge. Like it wasn't a real workout or anything. Anytime I ever do that, like I said, I always take the bridle off, which people have seen in several videos. Like I never actually work him on the ground with a bridle on unless I'm standing right there and like actually have a hold of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I didn't even remember that I put that in the video, but I should have clarified, I guess, in the video.
Let's see. So a lot of people find it really hard to believe that you've basically done everything under the sun in the equine industry.
Like, I don't think. Have I said that? Have I said that I've done everything in the equine world?
Well, okay. I'll just list off from like what I remember. Okay, so that you were polo industry, that you done kart riding, that you were racing industry, that you were supposed to help train Olympic riders.
Okay, that's not true. The Olympic rider thing is not true. No, let me tell you something really quick. This is gonna sound hilarious. When I was 14, I used to make these videos where I was just trolling people. Like a lot of my videos, like the helmet video, that was such a video of me. I was at a polo club, and I had a barrel racing trainer who also taught out of that polo club. That's when I was leasing this horse Serrano, and I think this was between the ages of like 10 and 13. And I was leasing this horse Serrano. We were doing some barrel racing, having a lot of fun with that. And also, it was at a polo club. That's where we trained. And so I also knew the owners of the polo club. And I would also go and like ride horses with them occasionally if they needed me to. I never competed in polo, but I did ride polo, and like that's why like I disagree with a lot of things in the equine world, is because I actually did stuff like that and trained with people who did that. So I disagree with a lot of their methods and everything. I mean, they're all nice people. Like, don't get me wrong. Every single person, really nice people. I just saw a lot of things that happened that I really disagreed with and stuff like that. So yeah, the polo thing was during the same time that I did the barrel racing thing, between like 10 and 13, and then I got Link, and then I was also broken horses and stuff like that, and she's absolutely amazing, one of the nicest people I've ever met, and she taught me basically everything I know, along with my mini horse instructor from the ages of like 4 to 10 that I worked with. She was phenomenal as well. She's super nice, and she taught me how to like work with horses and stuff like that. And so then I got Link and moved him a few times, like still working with some of my trainers and training horses with them and stuff like that, and shadowing them and everything between like 13 and 15. That's when I was doing all of that, and moved Link to a new facility. I was going, those 3 horses that we talked about, those were going to be like my first, the reason I made videos about them, and I deleted the videos because I didn't want to leave them up and cause any confusion for people, because I never actually ended up training them, but they were going to be like my first real horses that I would work on by myself, and that's why I was so excited about it, even though it never ended up happening, which is why I took the videos down, because I realized it does cause a lot of confusion and stuff like that. Although the horse that I did fall off of was Avalon, and he was a horse that I was training at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I only see what I was talking about, so I wouldn't just be ignorantly talking about the racing industry in weeks to a month, I want to say. At the time, I'd only been working him for like that long, and he was a Belgian warm blood, I'm pretty sure. And that's the horse I fell off of. A lot of people think that I fell off Link. I didn't. I fell off a horse that I was training, and that's how I broke my ankle. And it wasn't his fault. It was just that I got really dehydrated because I only have one kidney.
Yeah.
So I started going like in and out, and I just fell over. It wasn't a bad fall or anything. I just hit my ankle the right way, and it just like broke and split apart or whatever. So he's not a bad horse. He didn't do anything wrong. So I want to clarify that for people as well. But the racing industry, I've never trained any horses in the racing industry, like for people who race horses. I did go over to England, I think it was a year and a half ago or something, and I toured a racing barn, was there for a few days to see how everything worked, talked with all the jockeys, the owner, saw how the horses were treated, what they did, their exercises, and then I also went to a horse race to see how everything was done, how they like did everything, whatever. And so I wanted to do that because I despise the racing industry so much that I wanted to get an in and actually see how they did things, and so that way I wouldn't be so, hypocritical if they actually treated their horses right, which a lot of the horses that I saw, they really cared about the horses and whatever, and in my opinion, it's not the owners, it's not the jockeys or anything like that, or the trainers, by owners, I mean the trainers, and it's not the jockeys, it's the owners of the horses who treat the horses like shit because they only care about the money. Like, most of the owners never even go out there to see their horses. They just have them so that way they can race them and, like, make money off them at the horse races. So most of the owners are not even actually horse people from what I saw. But the jockeys and the trainers, like, all of them really cared about their horses a lot. And, like, Manny Clouds was one of the horses that I, like, had the pleasure of meeting, who was the 2015 Grand National Champion. And I think there's still a picture of me up on my Instagram, like training with their horses or something. And I think at one point we were doing them twice a month, and there was another trainer who would occasionally come by and help me out, and his name was Cody, and he also worked in the area, and he was one of like my really close friends, and he also
like you don't have basically the paper that basically makes you legally a trainer.
So I think a lot of these people are really naive in a way, because every single horse trainer I've ever met who has their own training business and whatever, most of them have literally no credentials, nothing, no certifications, no certificates, nothing like that. I think a lot of people are just saying that because they're being really naive, and like maybe in other countries you need to have that, but in the US, legally, in order to be a horse trainer, you literally could just walk out of your house, never have touched a horse in your life, and you could say that I'm a horse trainer. That's why a lot of people get shit, I guess, because so many people say that they are horse trainers when they're really not, and that's why a lot of people don't believe it. But seriously, like, if you wanted to walk out of your horse and say that you're a horse trainer, then you're a horse trainer. And you don't need any credentials, you don't need any credibility, you just need to have a reference of someone saying that, yeah, I trained their horse, or she trained my horse and she's good. So that's why horse trainers are really sketchy, because so many people think that you need to have certifications and stuff like that, and you don't. Like, legally, you do not have to have any of this stuff. All you have to have is someone who's willing to hire you as a horse trainer and train their horses, and that's it. Every single trainer I've ever met in my life, none of them, most of them have never even been to college or anything. They definitely don't have any special certifications under their belt. And I think a lot of people think that, like, horse training is some, like, huge thing. It's really not. Like, anyone can train a horse, and so that's why you have to be really careful with who trains your horse and whatever, because so many people could say that they're a professional horse trainer that really doesn't mean anything, you know, like, anyone can say that, because you don't have to have all these qualifications and certifications and stuff like that that people say that you have to have. It certainly helps to have them, and I'm sure that they definitely teach you a lot more, but it's not required. So I think that's another thing that people get really confused, is they think that, like, you legally have to go to school to be a horse trainer, and that's not true at all. In fact, like, I would say over 70% of people who train horses that I've ever met, they've never even, like, been to school for it. So most of them are just people who grew up on a ranch, and they've always worked with horses.
I
something that I tried at the time, and then just like it was something I did during that time, and then just moved on, you know.
So I actually would like to ask you to clarify. So the IB diploma does not offer like the agriculture, veterinary science, equine science.
Yeah, no, that wasn't through IB.
Yeah,
I
so
went to an IB school, but I took honors classes and AP classes in those subjects. So that wasn't like I went to an IB school and like did take a lot of IB classes and stuff like that. But on the side, I also took a lot of like AP honors stuff like that because we had an extra department that was separate from our high school that was for like agriculture, equine studies. It was through Colorado State University. Yeah. So that's where everything ties in there. I know there's like a lot of confusion with that.
All right. Well. So that helps clarify.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get that like it wasn't IB.
And a lot of people ask, so because you trim Link's hoofs from time to time, right?
Yeah, occasionally. I would say it's like, mostly, I would say maybe like once or twice a year, to be honest. Most of the time, my farrier comes out like every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on when he needs his hoofs done, because my farrier, like, he's so nice. He lives like halfway between where I moved and, you know, where I live now in Denver, so he travels for me. But yeah, no, he comes out most of the time, which a lot of people don't believe. Like, I mean, people don't believe anything I say, which is just really kind of funny to me. People think I'm just lying
people
all
are
the time.
saying right now that CSU does not offer any equine science classes, and that they just look at their website.
The classes were verified through CSU. They're not classes at CSU. I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are looking at the college. Like, I think this is another one of the problems is like people look at the college. Like, I didn't go to college, people. These were classes at my high school that were verified through my college, and we would occasionally go up there into their like rooms and stuff like that and get to look at the stuff that they do.
Yeah.
It wasn't an actual like class that I went to college for because I'd have to be enrolled in college. They were just college level verified classes through my high school.
Yeah.
And I don't know why so many people think that I'm just sitting here lying about this. Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the comments I'm
like this stuff has no verification. What?
A lot of the comments are like, this is BS, like, oh my gosh, she's lying, you know, she's...
The funniest thing about all this is, like, this stuff validates me in zero way. Like, I don't even use this stuff anymore. Like, this is stuff that I took years and years ago that is not even relevant to my situation now. So there's literally no reason for me to lie about it. Like, literally, if I had not taken these, I wouldn't say that I had taken these classes. They're not, like, college classes that I would go to college for. They're college-level classes through my high school. There's a huge difference there. There's a huge, huge difference. I was never enrolled in college.
Yeah.
And so many people, like, I have zero reason to lie about this stuff because it's not even relevant to my situation now. Like, I don't train horses anymore. I have zero reason to lie about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is, like, so funny to me. Like, I've said so many times, like, I'm not a vet. I'm not someone who's, like, highly trained in, like, equine studies. I just took college-level classes through my high school when I was in high school. Because my high school offered college-level AP and honors classes.
Yeah.
And so there's, like, a huge difference there. People are so ridiculous, honestly. The fact that people think I lie about literally everything in my life just blows me away. There's no reason for me to lie about this stuff.
Yeah. Alright, so, not on topic, but Dragon Water Stables has been spamming me and saying to tell you that you're amazing. And you are amazing.
I love you.
And let's see, so actually, people are saying, so, like, because you do bring it up in a lot of your videos that you have taken those college classes and you use that to back up your knowledge, and I guess that's why people find it, like, I guess in a way frustrating and annoying and want to know, like, more about it.
I'll definitely, like, I didn't know that people were, like, so frustrated by that. I will definitely clarify more in the future that, like, they're not, like, I didn't actually enroll in college for those classes because I'd have to be in college to take those actual classes. They're just college-level classes that were AP and honors through my high school. So maybe I should just, like, it's just easier for me to say college-level classes than, like, actually go into detail in all my videos because that takes up an entire minute of my video. And, like, that's the problem with most of my videos is that I could go into detail and very, easily explain every single thing I do, but it just takes up so much time. And then most of the time I'll have to re-clarify it in more videos in the future and just restate it over and over again because not everyone is going to see that one video,
Yeah. I guess, you could just do like a table of contents video that says, this is this, this is that, and just reference it into your description.
And that's why I was so open to doing this video because, like, I have nothing to hide. Like, people think that I just lie about everything. I literally have nothing to hide about my life. Like, nothing to hide about my life. Like, I openly state that several times. I just think people just want drama, and they just want to assume that I'm lying about everything. Apart from, like, the bits and stuff like that, I think it's totally normal, and I don't have a problem with it, so.
Yeah, cool. Let's see. I already talked about the drone. People are asking, like, why don't you post vids, for example, when you get involved in, like, horse rescuing or animal shelters and, like, actually getting involved?
Everything at animal shelters and stuff like that is all confidential. Like, everything we do, I can't film going onto someone's private property.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
So, you're against stalls, right? But, for example, if a vet would tell you that Link needs to be put into, like, stall rest, would you do it?
Yeah. I mean, I've said that in several videos, too. I know a lot of people say that to me all the time, and I've clarified that because I am almost 100% certain that I've said that in videos. Like, I absolutely hate stalls, but it's the same thing as shoeing a horse, and I say this all the time. Totally fine with shoeing a horse if there's actually a purpose behind it, like if the horse actually does need the shoe. I just feel like shoeing a horse is really unnecessary otherwise and can cause a lot of problems. It's the same thing with stalls, and I have clarified that in several videos, which I'm sure a lot of people haven't really seen or watched the video entirely to get to that part, but I'm totally fine. Whatever is in the horse's best interest is like my main motto. Like, as long as it's in the horse's best interest, totally fine with me. If my vet came and said my horse needed to be on stall rest, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But, like, if my horse has nothing wrong with him, he's totally fine, totally normal, then why would I do that? Like, I just disagree with stalls so much, probably more than anything else, probably even more than bits, because I think it limits the horse's life so much. And horses are herd animals. They should be out with other horses. It also causes early arthritis, respiratory problems, stuff like that. Like, stalls are just, in general, really bad, in my opinion. And so, like I said, unless it's necessary, it's just not something I would do. But, I mean, if it's in the horse's best interest to put the horse in the stall, then I would put the horse in the stall. But like I said, everything just falls back on if it's in the horse's best interest,
Yeah. So, back when you trained horses, riders, would you refuse to train anyone who rode in bits?
No. I've trained a lot of people who have ridden in bits. It's the same thing with, like, actually training horses, like, even at the clinics and stuff. Like I said, more than, in my opinion, 90% of people ride in bits. So why would I limit myself and say that I'm only going to help you if you ride in a hackamore? Like, I feel like regardless of how someone rides or what they do or what they ride in, it's still my responsibility to make it the best possible outcome for the horse with what I have to work with. So I'm not going to turn someone away just because they ride in a bit. I'm not going to turn someone away just because they want to use a whip for extra cues or something. Obviously, if they do something blatant, like beat their horse with a whip or something, I would, I would stand up for that, and I'd be like, listen, you're not going to do that if you want to work with me, because that's not what is in the horse's best interest. But no, I mean, I've trained a lot of people who have ridden in bits. I've trained a lot of horses who are horses that are in bits. That's why that story that you sent to me a few weeks ago, where this girl was claiming that I trained her horse and broke her horse's nose in a hackamore. I'm like, first of all, I don't even remember this scenario that was being told. It's this, like, whole long list of things that she was saying happened. I'm like, I don't even remember this horse or whatever. And also, I would never do that. If somebody came to me and said that I have this horse that's in a bit and I want to transition it to a hackamore or whatever, first of all, I would never even really offer that. I would be like, listen, we're going to work with this horse with what we have. I always use the rider's equipment. I would never use my own unless someone said that, like, I want you to train this horse in a hackamore or something like that, which even in that situation, I normally wouldn't transition a horse for a hackamore for a while. It would never happen just overnight. I would never do that. Which is why I thought that scenario was just so funny when you sent that to me. I'm like, well, that's obviously not true. Like, it's funny to me that people literally hate me so much that they will make up things about me. Like, and that just blows my mind. Like, people will make up things about me just to get more people to hate me, which I just think is so funny. But, no, like, I've trained several horses in bits. Probably the majority of the horses I've trained have been in bits just because bits are what is most commonly used. I can't just say to the owner that I'm not going to train their horse because they ride in a bit, because I feel like even if it's